What's up guys, welcome back. As you can see, we're going to be back in Forza Horizon 4 today. It is the start of update 16. And with that, for the summer season comes the Ferrari 488 Pista. And as you can see, I did change the livery up on this thing. It does have a nice race theme livery on it. I did go ahead and throw a race suspension on the car before the video too, just so I could drop it down and take some pictures. And I also have the track width upgrades on it. But besides that, this car is how it comes still. So we're going to take it out here. We'll do a short little drive to the house real quick before we check out customization, just so you can see how the thing drives stock. Mostly stock anyways. I really didn't notice much of a difference at all adding the race suspension, honestly, without actually doing any tuning to the car. And the track width at most would be negligible on this thing, because it really doesn't make this car a lot wider. Sorry about there guys, I forgot I had turned off sim steering for a little bit to knock the trial out. I was just having a really hard time, so I just threw it back on normal just to get it finished so I could get this thing unlocked. But anyways, this is now on sim steering how the car handles. Very responsive feeling from the little bit I drove it stock. Probably not going to change a whole lot on this thing before we take it out and do some races and stuff with it. Just because it is a fairly well put together car. It feels really good here in the game so far. It's got a really nice tight feel on the wheel here as far as the steering's concerned. It's not super heavy. And it's actually a lot linear, or a lot more linear than a lot of the other supercars. Like a lot of them, they feel heavy even at low speeds, whereas this actually is fairly easy to turn and does not feel like it's very heavy at all at lower speeds. And before we actually jump into customization, we will take a look here in Forza Vista real quick. Go ahead and explode this thing for you guys. It's extremely highly detailed on this car. You can actually see the option sheet up here in the front. I don't know if we can actually get, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we can get close. Next, we'll come around here to the back, take a look at the engine. It's actually really nicely packaged back here. It's very, very nice looking. Extremely highly detailed on this model for this car. And surprisingly, you can actually see more of the motor in this than you can in a lot of Ferrari's models. And we'll come around here and look at my favorite part of this car, which is the interior. It's just extremely nicely done on this thing. Hopefully I'm not going around this car too fast for you guys so you can actually get a good look at it. Really nice Alcantara inserts on the door. Here, we'll go ahead and do this so it implodes so you guys can actually see everything closer. Really, really nicely done interior on this thing. It's super clean. And I don't know if you guys could see it when I was going around. I'll show you once I get out again just in case. But this actually does have harnesses built in from the factory. They do have the Ferrari logo. It just really nicely accents the inside of the car. You can see our little key fob down there too to be able to start the car. They just really did a great job in the inside of this thing. It's probably one of my favorite interiors. Honestly, it kind of just sounds like half of the other Ferraris in the game. Nothing special really about the engine sounds on this thing. It does sound a little better on startup, I think, though, than some of them. That could just be me, though, and it's been a while since I've actually started one of the Ferraris up in Forza Vista. Just a beautiful car. It's really cool to see this here in the game. It's kind of sad that a lot of these cars really are getting not that much attention because the announcement that Toyota was going to be back in Horizon. Everybody's freaking out about that, and that's all they're really talking about. So we'll go ahead and jump over here now and check out the upgrades. I did look through everything earlier just to give you guys a better idea without kind of falling around or fumbling around with it. I don't think anybody's surprised by this, the Racing V12. And we also have a 6.3 liter V12 hybrid, which I'm sure is a Ferrari engine, but I'm not for sure what that comes out of. Feel free to leave in the comments below what it is. I don't really keep up to date really on Ferrari or really most supercar manufacturers and what they're doing. Some, like, I'll check into it, but I don't really like stay on top of specs like that. At least not for Ferrari. Like, I like Ferraris, but I like old Ferraris. I'm not the biggest fan of modern supercars. I really don't even want to show you guys what this aero looks like because this is probably one of the worst looking aero kits in the game. Like, it looks like it's like not even attached to the front basically.
Perfect.
It just looks ridiculous. Here, let me get the camera zoomed a little bit more if I can. I'm all the way back. Like, from here it doesn't look bad, and then you come down here and it's just ridiculous. And the rear wing is just as bad, basically. I was honestly thinking about not even showing you guys the aero in the game, but I figure I'd go ahead. As for tires, this thing does already come with race tires on it. We can upgrade to drag, rally, and we can do Horizon race tires. No real surprises there. While we're here, we are going to go ahead and upgrade our tire with some. We're going to go up to, we can go all the way up to a 275. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with that because that's not really super crazy wide for this thing. And the rear, the widest we can go is a 335. And honestly, I'm just going to throw it on there because we don't really gain much PI out of it. I'm not changing these wheels. I really, really like these carbon fiber Ferrari wheels that it has on it already. And I'll show you guys that, like I said, I did do the upgraded front track width. Alright, for drivetrain upgrades, we're going to just do what we always do. We're going to throw everything at it. So I'm just going to hurry up, jump through here, pop all this on real fast. And if we go over here to platform and handling, we're already on race brakes. We're already on race suspension because I did upgrade it. As you can see, the car sits a decent little bit higher stock. I do have this thing set as low as it'll go for when I was taking some pictures in the car. Still handles pretty good though. And we actually do have drift springs and dampers on this, which I was slightly surprised with because a lot of supercars have not been coming with them in this game lately. I kind of want to try to build a rally car out of this thing sometime too because I just feel like it would honestly do pretty good. We will throw the race front anti-roll bars and rear anti-roll bars on it. I'm not going to do a cage in this thing because it kind of just looks out of place in this car and I really don't want to lose the visibility. It's already a really stiff chassis anyways. I don't really see us gaining much out of that. And surprisingly, we can drop 277 pounds off this car with weight reduction. I don't know why and I can't say it again, race weight reduction is such a hard thing to say. Alright, and as you can see for the stock engine, we do have pretty much everything available to do upgrades. We're going to start over here with our race cams, see where that puts us at, brings us up to 947. We're putting out 785 horsepower with that, up to 818 with the race exhaust, still only at 952 on the PI. Throw our race flywheel on it. I have a feeling we're going to be able to basically max all these engine upgrades. Yeah, we're only at 965 with twin turbos, 966. We might not even make it to the top of S2, honestly. Over 1,000 horsepower now. I think this thing's just gonna have trouble getting that high without having all-wheel drive. Yeah, we're not even close to the top of S2. I was really expecting this thing to be able to go a lot higher than that, at least without engine swaps. So we have 1,089 horsepower, 818 foot-pounds of torque, down to 2,800, we'll say, 2,800 pounds. Weight distribution, I don't think changed very much. Altogether, I feel like this should be a pretty good setup for this car. I just really wish we could have actually made it all the way to the top of S2. I kind of wish I would have restricted it to like S2 950 now, just so it would be a more rounded number. But whatever, we'll just go ahead and give it a shot how it is now. Alright, so I will run you guys through what I've done to the tuning so far before we hop out and take this thing for a rip and see how it actually drives. And it should be a pretty good baseline tune for you guys to start with if you want to work on it from here. So you can see our accel lock is 56, decel 13. I have brake run at 52% towards the front. And for this one I left pressure at stock because I'd been playing other racing sims so much that the braking here in Forza is really messing with me, and I just tend to get on the brakes too hard and either stall the car or lock them up. I haven't messed with the rebound and bump stiffness at all. That's stock settings. I don't think I'm going to really need to. The car felt pretty good from what I drove it, but we'll just have to see with all the added horsepower and lightening the car up a little bit. I didn't touch spring rates. I did lower the car all the way down. Like I said, that's factory anti-roll bar stiffness. For my front camber, I went with negative 1.4, and with rear, I went negative 1.2, and I brought the front caster up to 5.8. I haven't messed with the toe, front, and rear yet. It feels like it's a pretty good balance already. For gearing, the way this thing was already showing when I popped in here, it was kind of set up as a 6-speed already. 7th gear was already off. So I just kind of changed the gears so they would match up with each other and should give me a pretty decent power band. It should pull really well. And then like I always do for this style of car, I got 20.5 front tire pressure, 19.5 rear. Alright, so I will drive from the outside view of the chase cam here for just a second so you guys can kind of see how the car responds and the way it actually sounds from the outside, because on the inside it's very subdued. It's not really sounding very distinct from any other Ferraris in the game, really. Definitely does not feel the fastest. It handles pretty decently though. And it actually sounds better from the outside by quite a bit actually. This thing actually pops pretty easily compared to a lot of cars in this game too. While we're on the highway here, let's see what kind of speed we can get this thing up to. Said like 257 in the tuning menu, but we'll just have to see for ourselves. I don't know if I have enough road left here on the highway to really see, but yeah, I think we're probably gonna hit like 230 at most. Okay, we're still pulling 231. 232, 33, 34. Oh, I was really trying to get to 235. I was not backing off at the roundabout. To really get that aggressive intake sound from the, oops. It would be the hood cam. Sounds very aggressive from up here. Oh god. Oh, not my Ferrari. Oh, lost traction there for a little bit. I guess it really doesn't sound bad from the interior. It just has more of a whine to it from the turbos, and then you really just get a lot more intake noise. You don't really get to hear the exhaust note of the car very well. That was a sketch move I pulled there, but it worked. Oh no, oh no. That's the only thing really about sim steering in this game is it is almost impossible to recover something like this from a slide that bad. Alright, so we are going to jump in here and do a race for this. We are going to do the Colossus because it's a little bit longer race. Gives us a little more time to see what the car is actually like. I really wish they would stop classifying cars in a track toy and extreme track toy. Just put it in supercar or hypercar so we can actually race against other vehicles that are actually like it. I mean, granted, as you can see, at least in regular track toys, the cars kind of make sense. Whereas extreme track toys, it doesn't make sense at all. You end up just racing against Formula Drift cars with 1,300 horsepower. I guess the track toys category is actually not bad. We actually have a pretty good grid of cars. It's just the extreme track toys that is just a bunch of garbage usually. It's always just Formula Drift cars that just destroy you on straightaways and then do nothing but hold you up and cause wrecks in every corner. Oh god. The people up in first and second are so on top of each other. I literally thought there was only one person up there, and then I realized I was in third. Looking down at the map, it just looked like there was only one dot up there. Definitely gotta be easy on the throttle out of corners with over 1,000 horsepower in this thing. That's another thing too. In Project Cars, I've been running my assists on authentic because in most race cars and high-powered cars anymore today, ABS and traction control is way better than any driver could be, which is why they run it in race cars now. But here in Forza, if you run ABS, traction control, or any of that in cars that are designed to use it out of the factory, that are faster with it out of the factory, you don't get as much money for it, and people think you're just a pleb. Honestly, in most sim titles, people feel that way about ABS and traction control too, which really makes no sense because in real life that's how they race, because it's a necessary thing to drive cars at that power level at those speeds. Ooh, I almost did not get slowed down in time for that one. Definitely need to do a little tuning to the suspension on this thing. I think the rear's set up a little too stiff after lightening it. I've been getting some pretty nasty on-throttle oversteer coming out of some of the corners. Get out of my way, KTM. This thing sounds super aggressive when you change gears. You can really hear the transmission banging into the next gear. Very satisfying though, I gotta say. I really, really do like that sound. Blowing that Viper out of the water on that straight. Oh my god. Three wide on the highway. Gotta say, after all the time I've been taking away from Forza, I am not used to the AI just driving like complete idiots and trying to murder you in half the corners. Really, really was not missing the grinding transmission gears all the time crap that this game causes you to do, which it makes no sense to me because does not happen in any actual sim titles I play. I don't really ever have that problem. Occasionally in Assetto Corsa, I'll shift a car just a little bit off and it'll get stuck in neutral, but nowhere near as often as that happens here in Horizon or even in Forza Motorsport. I don't know if it's just me or the way this car actually revs out, but it just sounds so mellow at the top of the power band. Oops, trying to make sure my controller didn't shut off there. I forgot it would still focus from the wheel. Or if it's just the way this thing sounds, or if it's me, but it is really hard to tell when you're getting near a red line in this car and when you need to shift just by the sound of it. Wasn't a super easy win for this race, but definitely a good race. It would have probably been an easy one if the AI wouldn't have just kind of held me up in corners so much and rammed me, but whatever. It was actually not bad at all. Very happy with how the car drives. Other than that little bit of oversteer, which that could be my fault from setting our accel lock so high in the diff, or it could just be where I lighten the car up and I didn't actually change the rear anti-roll bar stiffness and I didn't adjust the rear dampening at all. But it's really not bad. And if you were driving this car in a realistic manner where you had, like, say 10% traction control assisting you for all your on throttle stuff, it would probably drive just about perfect, honestly. Because the Ferrari 488 or 458, I believe it's a 488 that's in project cars. I would have to double check. Like I said, I don't really stay super up to date on Ferrari models. Like, that car in that game has insane amount of power, it feels like, and without traction control on, it's almost impossible not to spin the car out of a corner if you give it any sort of throttle at all, which you have to have. Okay, I honestly have no idea where I was at, guys. There, sorry, my daughter keeps coming in while I'm trying to record this. I cannot get her to stay out of this room right now. It's getting a little aggravating, but whatever. Like I was saying earlier, cars like this are not meant to be drove with ABS or traction control fully off. You are not going to drive better than the computers in the cars today. It's just simple fact. So putting that into account, if we actually had those systems enabled, I feel like this car would probably drive exactly how I would expect it and want it to. Be very easy to control. You'd have just enough power to overcome the rear tires if you needed to give it a little bit of rotation on throttle. But at the same time, you'd be able to accelerate a lot harder out of the corners without spinning the tires up and just gain an amazing amount of time. If you guys enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit the like button down below, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.